Hey guys, I'm your host, Sarah Thomas, and I'm so excited you tuned into Fit Girl Talk Radio today. If you're listening on a podcast platform, feel free to hop over to YouTube to check out our actual video and you can see our lovely guest. So I'm still working on all the YouTube stuff, but I think it's going pretty good. So if you have any feedback on that, please always let me know. Give it a like, subscribe, all the good stuff. You know the drill. Okay, so today we have on a guest from last season. Her name is Kelsey Willey. Kelsey is on Instagram, Sassy Brunette Fitness.
Yeah.
So you probably know her as that. So I had Kelsey on in season one, and we talked about like all the things we wish we would have known about breastfeeding. And now it's been a few months since I've had her on. So kind of let her tell us what's changed since we've talked to her last time. With that being said, if you are interested in Kelsey's like whole story, she like went into way in depth of like her journey, her fitness journey, her family journey, her pregnancy and all that fun stuff on season one's episode. So just look that up and tune into that one if you want to hear what she went through. And now I'm going to say hello and welcome for joining us. Thank you for joining us again. And tell us what's changed since last time.
Hi, thank you for having me. So I guess the last time we talked was probably, I think, the beginning of COVID. I
Yes.
think around when it was. So at the time, obviously last time we talked about breastfeeding and I was still exclusively pumping at the time. I had a goal to make it a year, and I think I made it just shy of 11 months. So it was definitely a hard process to part ways with, but so thankful for my decision to do it because it was affecting my mental health way more than it probably should have. Since then, we've just been hanging out at home pretty much. Summer flew by. My husband has been home from traveling since September. Braden turned 1 September 5th. Just getting ready for the holidays. Nothing too exciting really over here. We've been outside a lot and just hanging out with some friends and family here and there. Hoping that we can still do that with the new restrictions and everything, but nothing too monumental other than Braden turning 1 and just trying to soak up all of those memories and stuff. So
Yeah. So I'm glad that you said that about ending your breastfeeding journey, because obviously it's not what we're talking about today, but it's relevant to your last episode. And I did want to say that I'm glad you said that because I know that there's a lot of like stigma around when women decide to stop breastfeeding. And there's a lot of pressure, I guess, to, get to that 1 year mark or some people even go further. And I personally stopped at about 4.5, 5 months, exactly like you said, because for me, it was becoming more stressful and harder on my lifestyle. We were traveling a ton at the time. It was just much more stressful on me to continue doing that. So I'm just glad you said that. And
it definitely, I think I will say, I think COVID and being at home was probably one of the reasons that I did keep doing it so long because we didn't go anywhere. So it was like, well, I'm at home, Braden's napping, so I can pump or, whatever. And just to, in the back of my mind, not that any research I don't think it's even yet to come out on it, but just obviously breast milk, can help so much with sickness and stuff like that. So just trying to do it while I could and being home, it made it easier. And then I just like my supply started dropping and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like he was eating, more people food. So it was like he wasn't, as interested. So I'm like, you know what, we're just gonna call it a day. And I swear that I remember crying to Brian that night that I stopped. I made the decision to stop. And the next day when I, started weaning myself, it was just like a big weight off my shoulders. But yeah.
I totally remember too. Super painful when you decide
Yeah.
to, but a weight totally lifted. For me personally, I know a lot of women, it's not the same. Some people, we talk all about that in the
Yeah.
other episode.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna go into it
Yeah.
anymore. What we are here to talk about today is some actual tangible ways that moms can make more time for themselves, for your health and fitness and your wellness.
Mhm.
And I think this is so important because you know what? When Kelsey told me that this was a topic on her heart a few weeks ago, I was thinking on it, and how me personally as a mom, especially with COVID, what it's been like for me to make time for myself. And I'll be totally honest with you guys. Before COVID, I was nonstop, go, go, go. We were traveling like crazy. I mean, like in and out of the house, catching flights, road trips. And then COVID hit and everything stopped. And I didn't know how to make time for myself when I was at home.
Mhm.
And we had even gotten to the point where I was totally comfortable with leaving our daughter for the weekend to go on a adult only vacation, getaway, all those normal things you're supposed to do. And then now here I am, however many months deep into COVID and isolation. And my husband, actually, it was my birthday a couple weeks ago, last weekend. And my husband had planned for us to go out of town. And it felt really heavy to me,
Yeah.
because I wasn't used to it. The stress of, like, getting a babysitter seemed
Mm.
super stressful. Being away from my daughter seemed really stressful, and that to me was, like, kind of scary,
Yeah.
because I have never been so attached, to her, and I don't think she's been this attached to me. We've never been together this much.
Yeah.
So the fact that you had this topic on your heart was like a huge eye opener to me personally. Like, oh wow, I really haven't been making time for
Yeah.
myself. Like
Yeah.
I think I have, but I
Well, and
haven't.
that's the thing too, is like I don't it's so easy to like think that you're making that time, but in reality, you're doing things that might just be underlying, like stressing you out even more, or, you know, you're keeping yourself busy and just pushing those thoughts to the back of your mind instead of just like resting or,
Yeah.
taking that time for yourself.
Yeah.
It's,
And
yeah.
I mean, like I didn't even, like I get in my workouts because that's something for me that's a
Right.
non-negotiable.
Right.
But I'm at home still and she's still running around in and out of my
Yeah.
workouts. That doesn't even count. You
Yeah.
know, that's not alone time. And moms listening, taking a shower or painting your toenails, like that is not that's not like self-care. Like that's just like human need,
Needs, right. Yeah.
And I feel like that has been, I don't know, I just feel like, I don't know, people take a shower and they're like, "Oh my god, it was so nice to wash my hair. Thank you, husband, for letting me shower." Like, what?
Yeah.
No.
Like, I'm pretty sure you don't want me to smell for the rest of the day, but
I have to shower. You have to
yeah.
watch her while I shower. So, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm really glad we're talking about this. So okay, what kind of tips do you have?
So it's funny that we're kind of talking about this now because for so long, I considered my workout like my me time. It was my time to, my stress relief and all that stuff. And it's funny because yes, I love working out and it does help me with all of those things, but I almost felt like it was still work for me, if that makes sense. So it wasn't like I was actually like resting or feeling refreshed leaving a workout. So starting in November, I was like, I'm gonna take 20 minutes for myself every day. Every day, that's my November goal, is to not work out, not work, not be on social media, not anything. Like, I could read a magazine. Like yesterday, I just laid in bed. I told my husband to get Brayden from his nap, and he was like, "What are you doing? You're just laying here. Why couldn't you get him?" I'm like, "I'm taking my 20 minutes." Like,
Yes.
but it's like just it. And I think that's one thing that, with, like you said, with COVID happening, we are forced to just like stop and, slow down a little bit. But then I think as things started to open back up, we wanted to go like full force into everything again. And so taking that time to just de-stress and unwind and just like rest and just be like, just lay on the couch and not do anything. It quickly got put to the back burner, and your me time became, going to the grocery store by yourself, or like showering, or just, and like, that's not to say that those things can't, be beneficial for you. Maybe that is what relaxes you, but at the same time, it's like, you deserve time outside of all the like mom duties, the house duties, the chores, the grocery shop, like all of that you have to do. Like those are things you have to do in order to care for your family and stuff.
Still
So
job. It's part of your
yeah,
job.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love going to like Target and stuff and just walking around and by myself or whatever, but that's just, you're still going there for a purpose. Like,
And yes, and enter mom guilt, when you
yeah,
talk about how you like sat down and
yeah,
weren't doing anything. I mean, I used to do that all the time before I had a kid, and it was awesome. But now, like, oh my God, heaven forbid I sit down for 15 minutes without,
yeah,
and you and I both work from home. So,
yeah,
there's always something we could be doing.
yep,
You could be making a post, you could be answering emails, you could be working on a plane, you could be checking in on
mhm,
a client.
yep,
So like besides the fact that there's always 99 things to do at home, for people like us and a lot of moms listening, we're also working from home.
yeah,
So I think it's very hard to draw the line at, I see that you wake up early and you're probably going to talk about that. And that I admire that because I do not. I like my sleep big time.
yeah,
But I know you're going to get into that. But like, I see a lot of moms and myself too waiting until your kids go to sleep at night to kind of like start your me time. And I
yeah,
tell myself that every day, like, well, I'll just do that when she goes to bed. I'll paint my nails when she
yeah,
goes to bed, or
yeah,
but you don't have to wait till
I
8
know,
p.m. every night to like make
yeah.
an hour of time for yourself, especially when you're totally drained and exhausted by then. That's when I do sit on the couch and I'm like, ugh,
I know.
another day is done,
Well, and then
know?
and then too, it's like if you're waiting until you're like too exhausted, I feel like that time almost just isn't relaxing at all, because it's, I don't know, you're trying, I don't know, you just have everything, and like your mental capacity just like isn't
Yeah.
there, and it
You're
isn't
fresh.
there to like focus on yourself. But
Yeah. Okay.
um
So tell us what you do in the mornings.
yeah. So I've always been a morning person. My brain tends to just shut off past like 2 p.m. Like there's just no work happening after that time. And so I've always like gotten up early, not as early as I do now, but it's just one of those things where I know, one, I function better in the morning, and two, having those, 2 to 3 hours before Braden wakes up to like just work. And then I can devote specific time to him when he's awake. He still naps midday, but sometimes that like midday nap isn't enough for me to work and just lay there and do nothing and do all the things that I like need to do that day. So getting up um early, it helps me.
Tell
It
us
does,
what time. Tell
well,
us.
so I was getting up at 3:30, which I know sounds insane. I've been getting up at 4, so it's a little better. But it's
It
like
does sound insane, but it works for you. And
yeah,
it's not like it doesn't drain you to do it. You feel
yeah,
good when you do it.
yeah,
So
yeah. And normally like by the time, this is something I'm working on too, is not laying in bed and like scrolling on social media forever before I get up. But normally by the time, it takes me like 30 minutes to get up and like make my coffee. I'll do like a devotional and stuff like that before getting into work. So I'm like alert and waking up, and just you get that kind of quiet time to yourself before really diving in to anything. And I think a lot of times people see that I wake up early and they're like, "Oh, I wish I could do that." Like I, you know, want to get up, and but some people just aren't morning people, and that's okay too. So like finding that time, like you might work better at night when your kids go to bed. I follow this one girl that she's taking like pre-workout at like 10 p.m. and working until like 2 or 3, because that's just when it works for her.
yeah.
But so just finding you have, it's like, especially as a mom, I feel like you have to create your time. Obviously we all have the same 24 hours, and, you can't, you just have to create time where it almost doesn't exist. And just find a schedule in a way that works for you. So
So yeah, I like that you said that, because I think that is like the first really good tip that people can take away today is like you have to physically, mentally like pick a time that's going to
yeah,
work for you, for your the way you function, your body, your brain. For you that's super early in the morning. For me it's not. Um but and then like talk to your spouse, your partner, if you have somebody to help, and say,
yeah,
like, this is what I'm going to do. If for some reason the baby wakes up at 6 and I'm still doing my time, like, I'm going to need your help then.
yeah,
Does that work for you? You have to communicate with your spouse. And Kelsey and I both spend a lot of time single momming, so that's
yeah,
not always an option. And I know there's a lot of single moms listening, so I know it's not always an option.
yeah.
But if you have somebody, another adult that can help you, you need
Hmm.
to talk to them and use them.
Yeah. And I think too, like I tell my clients all this just with like working out or whatever, but like setting those like non-negotiable, like, okay, every day at 12 p.m. the baby goes down for a nap. So that 12 to 12:30 is like my non-negotiable, I'm gonna rest at this time. And just like trying not, it's so easy to push it off when it's not, I guess, considered important to you in a way. Same with like working out and everything like that. If you're not creating it and putting it into your schedule, it's easy to just, I'll do that when the baby goes to bed tonight, and then it doesn't happen. So, and like you said, just like communicating with those who are in your corner and stuff, and being like, hey, I need this time for myself. I need, they're going to understand. They're not going to tell you that you don't deserve that time. But just having that open dialogue and being okay with admitting that you need help too, I think is another
Yeah.
hard one to deal with, but something that goes a long way.
Yeah. And that's important, because you might not feel like you need help because everything's running smoothly, right? Like, you're
Right.
getting your work done, you're getting your workouts in, your baby's thriving, everybody's doing okay. But it's still okay for you to even
Yeah.
do something extra on top of that. So I don't know, like, mom guilt is so heavy. It's like
Yeah.
next level guilt. And it's so irrational. I mean,
Yep.
it's not necessary. And I don't know why we are all like that, but we are.
Yeah. I think I know it's funny that we're talking about this now, because one of my friends from college is getting married next year. And so we booked a bachelorette party, hoping it happens still with all of the COVID stuff. But it was one of those things where, we're going out of town, it's going to cost a lot, X, Y, and Z. And I just had this like full on like meltdown breakdown, because I was telling my husband, I was like, I want to do this for myself. I never get time. I never get, in reality, I am getting time, but it still doesn't feel like it, because it's like, it's so hard to like not feel guilty for taking those 20 minutes every day, or like separate yourself from the situation and trusting that someone else could, so it's kind of, it's hard. It's like, yes, I'm taking this time. It's like a lot of times you just don't feel like you're taking that time.
So enter trust, because I
Yeah.
think that is like number two
Yeah.
on the main takeaways here, because I totally agree with you. I had that in my notes too.
Yeah.
Um, the more time that I spend with my daughter, the less trust I
Mhm.
have in other people to take care of
Yep.
her. Why? She is a
Yeah.
self-sufficient 3-year-old. She literally does not even need me anymore. But like, I am at
Yeah.
this point now because of COVID where I've been so around her that I'm like, well, nobody
Mhm.
else can do this like this.
Yeah.
Nobody
Right.
can do this. Like, well, she is so easy. She doesn't even need me anymore.
I
So
know. I feel like it's weird that you say that, because I feel like now that Brayden is kind of out of like the baby stage, and like you said, needs less hands on. I mean, he still needs a lot of help and stuff, but he doesn't need as much. But I feel like I'm almost more worried about him now than I am as well. I think a lot of it too, he's mobile and stuff now,
Yeah.
whereas before you could just
Yeah.
lay him there and he would stay. But even just like with, bringing him to my parents or, my in-laws watching him or whatever it is, it's, can you keep up with him? Like you're gonna have to watch him. Like he can't go down the stairs. Like you're just all these things that you're
So that
trying to
does get better.
yeah,
That does. I remember like the 18-month
yeah,
phase was super scary because they can't totally communicate their needs yet. So
yeah,
that is a little hard,
yeah,
but he's also fine,
yeah.
So
And it's,
um
like you said, it's just learning to trust. And it's remembering too that's like my parents were my parents and I turned out okay.
they
I
did
mean,
it.
yeah. I mean, he's gonna fall sometimes, he's gonna whatever, cry and all this stuff, but just like knowing that he's taken care of without you too is a hard thing to it's like almost like when that happens, it's like you don't feel as needed maybe. So that's why you're like, I don't know. But
It's a lot of
yeah,
emotional things. I know, it really is. I mean, and like I said, I've been dealing with a lot of it in the last few weeks. Like during before COVID, like my daughter was we'd go to the gym every day and she
yeah,
would play for like an hour and a half, no problem. She was going to school twice a week. I loved it. Like I felt so
yeah,
good. I never had a day where I was like, this is so hard, me
yeah.
personally, because she was fine. And now if I had to send her to school, I'd probably be like, well,
I know.
is everybody gonna be okay? Am I gonna be okay?
Yeah.
Like,
I think
I don't know.
a lot of it too is like I experienced this a lot during like election week and everything. But I think of even if you aren't necessarily like super worried or concerned about COVID, it's like hearing, oh, you're always hearing it and seeing it. So it's just playing in this like underlying anxiety and like stress and stuff that you might not be really feeling those emotions on like the outside, but they're like bubbling up inside you until eventually you kind of just, break
Yeah.
and everything. So
Break. Like,
yeah,
exactly. When my husband was talking to me about doing this trip last weekend, which by the way, we did not go on, we did do a hotel with a night away without our daughter, which was much needed, but I wasn't ready to go
yeah,
travel unnecessarily right now because I told him, I remember standing in the kitchen and I was like, I'm tired of making these like life decisions for are we allowed to go out of town
yeah,
and somewhat enjoy ourselves even though we follow all the rules? What if,
yeah.
like is this gonna come back and is somebody we know going to get sick because we did this? Is this irresponsible? I'm tired of making those
Yes,
decisions.
yep.
I wanna make normal
I
adult
know.
decisions. Like, can I go to a bar and have 3 drinks while my daughter's at a babysitter, and can I be kinda
Yep.
drunk when I come home? Like, I wanna make normal decisions and not like, am I gonna bring home a deathly pandemic into
Yeah,
my house?
yep.
It's
I know
exhausting.
it's a lot, and it's like you said, you could be following every single guideline and everything, and something still happens, or, I that's the one thing that they say that it doesn't affect kids as much, but it's like, what if? Like, what if Braden's that like point
1.
zero zero 0.001 yeah percent that it does affect and especially with all the kids going back to school and everything it's a lot. And I think I know for me, I don't know if you did as well, but when the whole talk of like school was happening, we have like a Facebook page for our like neighborhood and our like community, and I would get like sucked into these posts about school and like the comments. And I'm like, my child isn't even in school and I'm over here feeling all these emotions and anxiety about it. And it's like, that doesn't help the situation either. So it's just
Yeah.
finding, I think, yes, like being in the know, but also like being able to remove yourself and take care of your like mental health. Even if you don't think that it's causing you stress or anxiety, it could be just on a deeper level that you might not feel yet, I guess,
I
if that
think
makes
we all feel that, like,
yeah,
all the stress of the
yeah,
election and COVID. schools. It's been a heavy year. So I think for
Yeah.
parents more than ever, we
Mhm.
are feeling it all.
And like you said, just having to make those hard decisions that like I would never think that I had to make for my like, my parents are technically higher risk. So it's like just going to my parents' house, like that's a decision I have to make that it's like
I know.
it's something that you just don't, I don't know. And so that's why I think it's good we're talking about this because now more than ever, I think moms and dads in general, like we need that time for ourselves, whatever that looks like, but
Yes.
we need it.
I totally agree. So I did want to talk about for moms making time for themselves. Like you and I have both mentioned, our workouts are non-negotiable. We make that part of
Mhm.
our day. But for people that it's not a non-negotiable, that are trying to make it that way, what are some tips you have for them to make time for their workouts or their meal prep or whatever it
Yeah.
is?
So my biggest tip, and I tell this to like literally everyone, like just start small. Like you don't, I think it's so, especially going into like the new year and, New Year's resolution, it's so easy to just want to change literally everything. And for some people, maybe that works. Like you have to change everything in order for something to stick. But if you can just maybe focus on getting more water in or just, I know it's getting colder out, so maybe, going outside for walks might not happen, but just trying to get up and move more, not necessarily just a workout, but instead of sitting at your computer working for 8 hours a day, get up and take like 200 steps every hour or whatever it is. And then once you can manage those small things, add on a few more and then a few more. And then as soon you're, you know, not, you feel better about yourself. You're making those healthier changes in a way that's manageable and not so overwhelming all at once. But
Yeah, I always tell my clients baby steps. And I
yep.
don't think that a lot of people hear it. I don't think they
Yeah.
hear me. Little tiny improvements
Hmm.
is like you said, it's not very stressful and it is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I mean, like you said, your water, whatever it is, like I've been telling like people lately that have like cardio equipment, just do 10 minutes like
Yeah.
in the morning. You don't have to get sweaty. You don't have to affect when you eat or shower around it. Just hop on and just get some movement
Yeah.
in. And I think they're like, yeah, well, what's the point? But no, there is a point. I
Point.
mean,
Yeah.
because when you make those little tiny changes in
Hmm.
your daily routine, when they don't add stress to you, it creates a ricochet effect, like
Yep.
domino effect to the next decision you make that day.
Yep.
Like, oh, or maybe you say that you did that at 9 a.m. every day. And then after a week, you're like, oh, wow, that was easy. I'll add on 5 more minutes.
Yep.
Or I'll add in 10 minutes in second half of the day. Like, it makes a difference.
Yeah. I saw a post, I think it was on probably Instagram or something, but it was like if you can improve by just 1% every day, that's 365% at the end of the year. Like that's insane. Like that 1% doesn't feel like a lot. And, I think a lot of people out there, they're like, drinking more water, how is that going to help me lose weight? So they just brush it off. But that 1% every day, like you said, adding 5 more minutes or drinking another glass of water or whatever it is, it adds up. And then at the end of the year, here you are 365% better. Like that's insane. That's a
I saw that
lot.
post too, and I thought the same. I think I saved it because
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Um, yes, and what was it? Oh yeah, I saw another post that just reminded me. What was it? Oh yeah, basically, I'm not going to word this right, but what the post was getting at was that you're either getting better or you're getting worse
Yeah.
every day, and all the decisions you make are your decisions to something that's going to make you better, or is it something that's holding you back and
Mhm.
probably actually taking you in the wrong direction?
Right.
So I think that's really good too because it makes some things a little more when you're looking in your fridge, what should I eat right now for a snack? Maybe grab the healthier option.
Yeah.
I feel like with food and everything and those kind of choices, it can feel so heavy and like you have to do it 100% to see results
Yeah.
or
No,
success.
yeah.
But if you make that small decision
Mhm.
it's going to lead to another good decision and
Yeah.
another good one.
I
So,
think too with especially with like food and stuff and with water and like movement, but it's like with food, you can almost immediately feel how you feel after that meal. If especially, talk going back to like your mental health and everything, if you are feeling good, you're gonna, perform better, just you have more natural energy, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like you said, that ripple effect of I'm making this decision, not just, to lose weight, but to make myself feel better so I can, give more to my day and stuff. So,
yeah,
yeah.
and that actually was on my notes of what I was going to say about how some of my tips for getting in your workouts every day. Um, the way you eat, the way I choose to eat is because I don't have a set time right now that I get my workout in because I don't need that right now. I work
Yeah.
out at all different times, but if I highly recommend you setting a time if you
Mhm.
need that. But the way I eat supports my workouts and the way I feel.
Right.
So even
Right.
if I just ate lunch and it's not like I'm gonna have some big heavy like queso Mexican lunch and be like, "Oh, I can't work out today anymore,"
Yeah.
because we've all been there. I know how that feels. So I don't eat that way because I've got shit to do. So I can't
Right.
eat like that and then feel crummy all day,
Yep.
like
Mhm.
um
I
so
think,
go ahead.
yeah. And I think a lot of times this might be getting off tangent a little bit, but, you know, all of these like diets and stuff, they all have their time and place, macros, they have their time and place. But I think a lot of times, people gravitate towards the popular diets because, they're looking for that quick fix and everything. But it's like in that process, we forget like the basics when it comes to nutrition. Like, am I actually hungry? Or, am I full? How is this meal gonna like make me feel? Am I eating fruits and vegetables? We all know what a fruit and a vegetable is. It's like, but it's trusting yourself to make that decision and just make it not just like I said for progress, but helping you just feel better. Yeah, I don't know.
Food is fuel. Like, that's what
Yeah.
I literally look at when I open my pantry or my
Mhm.
fridge. Like, what am I gonna do with the next few hours in my day? What do I need to get through that? How you
Yep.
mentioned just now about the fad diets and whatnot, um, majority of those, as we all know, is cutting out something, right?
Okay.
It's cutting
Yeah.
out a macro for the most part. So are
Yeah.
you really gonna feel good if you don't have carbs for the day? Or is your brain gonna work? Are you gonna be able to
Yeah.
get up to go work
Yep.
out? I know that you know how it feels, and I know how it feels.
Yep. It's
No, you're gonna wanna lay down, you're gonna be crabby, you're probably gonna be mean to your kids.
Yep. Yep.
Like, we've all been there, so
Mhm.
fuel yourself.
Right.
And I did wanna say before I forget, another one of my tips for getting in your workouts is I, like, always wear workout clothes.
Yeah.
So for the most part, unless I get my workout done in the morning, then I
Mhm.
shower and I'll put on real clothes maybe, for the rest of the day, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I wear workout clothes because
Mhm.
that way, if my day is super hectic and my husband's like, "Oh, I'll take our daughter to the grocery store," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, great. I've got, like, 45 minutes. I'll
Right.
hop on. I'll get it going right now. I'm already dressed for it," you know?
Right, exactly.
So
I don't remember if it was a client or who it was, but someone was or I think it was in a Facebook group that I'm in, but someone said that they sleep in their workout clothes because then they can just get up
yes.
and go. I'm like, sometimes you just have to do those things to start forming that habit into going back to like setting the set workout time. I tell my clients that um, a lot, especially if they have like a busy schedule. You have to make that time in your day because just like with me time, it's so easy to push it off. Oh, I'll do it after, I'll work out after work, I'll work out whenever. And then that time comes and it never happens. So setting that like non-negotiable time for yourself it helps create that habit and that routine. But
Yeah, and the last tip, I feel like you and I could talk about this for a really long time. So I have one more tip. My last tip is that have a plan, have a program,
yep.
whatever it is,
Hmm.
because I personally, like the last few months, got like no motivation for a plan. Yes, I
Yeah.
was still working out. I wasn't looking forward to it. It was like, ugh, I need to go do this. Um,
Yeah.
so it's not that my workouts are maybe more efficient, which I think they are, but it's not really more about that. But it's like I'm kind of excited right now because I have a new
Yeah.
plan. So it's like, ooh, I want to go do this today and see how it feels, you know?
Well, and too, like it gives you something in the short term to work towards. And I think a lot of times, you know, people fall off track from their goals because they're not seeing that progress right away. You know, if you can have a set plan that you're working on, it's so easy to see those day-to-day changes because, you know, maybe you're lifting 5 more pounds or you're able to run 5 seconds faster or whatever it is. So it's easier to celebrate those small wins and keep you motivated to keep going. So that's
Yes.
definitely a good one.
Okay. Before we wrap up, Kelsey, did you have any more tips or anything else to share?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Maybe like just trust yourself and know that you need that time, whether it's to just lay on the couch and do nothing or to get a workout in. I sometimes I literally give myself pep talks and just be like, this time will help you, this time will make you a better mom. Whatever you have to do to take that time for yourself, you deserve it. And I know sometimes hearing people say like, oh, you should get some me time today can kind of go in one ear and out the other. But if people offer help, take it and just take that time to de-stress and do something for yourself because you do feel so much better afterwards, especially now with everything going on.
Yes, and you nailed it on the head when you said that it makes you a better mom,
Yeah.
because that is like my last final thing to wrap up with, that it is hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy to make time for yourself. It does feel guilty sometimes, and we
Yeah.
all feel that. I mean, you see a mom on Instagram that's working out
Yeah.
every day and doing all this. Don't think for a second that it doesn't cross their mind that they could be reading a book to their kid or doing yada yada. Like,
Yeah.
no, we all feel it. But it makes you a better mom when you're taking
Mhm.
care of yourself, whatever that means. If it's your workouts, like you said, if it's eating better,
Yeah.
it's meditating, yoga, reading a book, whatever it is for you that's going to make you better,
Yeah.
your whole family's going to feel it. Your clients, your business, your
Yep.
whoever is going to feel it. So you
Yep.
have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it does create that like ripple effect, like you said. And the better you feel, the better your surroundings, the people around you, just everything, it feels better. And I will add one last thing. If you have like other moms that you're friends with, like in your corner, have one of them like hold you accountable to it. You know, maybe they could text you, you know, midday and be like, hey, have you taken 5 minutes for yourself today or something like that? Just so you have those people who are checking in on you and, you know, knowing that they care for you, and want to see you take care of yourself too.
Yes, totally agree. Okay, so before we wrap up entirely,
Yeah.
Kelsey is going to do a giveaway. So I will let her tell you guys what she's giving away.
Yeah, so I want to do a 4 week workout plan giveaway that's going to include check-ins with me. It will all the workouts will be delivered via my app, so you'll have it right on your phone. I will make it at home friendly if you need that right now. I can make it gym friendly too. So yeah, I just want to give back to a mama out there who needs something and needs structure and a plan in her life to help her take care of herself.
Yes. So if you're a mom and you're listening,
Yeah.
you have no excuse not to enter to win, because why would you not want a new program? I would enter to
Yeah.
win if I could.
Yeah.
And also you don't have to be a mom to win. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
If
Well
you
put.
probably haven't listened through the whole episode if you're not a mom, but
Right.
anybody can win.
Yeah.
So in order to enter to win, you're going to go to our Instagram at Fit Girl Talk Radio, and I'll have the whole ditty on there. It's the same thing as
Okay.
always. Follow her, follow us, yada yada. So you'll see that on there. Thank you guys for listening. Kelsey, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you.
your tips. Yes. Oh, and if I didn't say this already, regardless, go follow Kelsey at Sassy Brunette Fitness, because her family's adorable, and
Thank you.
she's just like a real life mom, and she's doing so much stuff. She's doing all the things, and she's sharing all about it.
Yeah.
So all the tips and everything, go follow her. And make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube, subscribe to our podcast, give things likes, reviews, all of it. Because all of that makes a difference to me, because there's really no way for me to promote podcasts or YouTube's at all. So the more active you guys are on it, the better it benefits me. So I appreciate that. So I think that's all we have today. Kelsey, thank you. And we'll have you on again
Thank
soon.
you. Bye.
Bye.